Have you ever dreamed of a day when you can finally relax with your feet up and enjoy your golden years? Do you ever see yourself sitting on a cozy chair by the fireplace and reading stories to your grandkids? Do you see yourself traveling in places you are yearning for so long? Well, it's tough because most people in this generation will never be able to do it and will live forever in their dreams. Others simply don't want to talk about it and just ignore the fact that all people need to retire and they cannot go on working forever. Let's find out the reason behind. To understand why it is always difficult to retire and why most people don't want to believe it, we need to trace back its short history. In the late 1800s, Chancellor Otto von Bismarck created the first retirement program in Germany because he wanted to assist the elderly and improve their financial condition. This intention was very much helpful since he was aware that as people aged, they cannot continue working and thereby needed financial support. And as people get older, they become dependent. So he introduced a pension program that aimed to provide support and improve the quality of life of the elderly. As planned, Bismarck does all he can to sustain the program. However, the elderly in the 1800s assumed that average life expectancy between 40 to 45 years old, while the retirement plan became effective after reaching the age of 70. This means you will not be benefited when you retire between ages 40 to 45 and you have to wait until you are 70. Clearly, it didn't cost Bismarck that much money to continue the program, while the majority didn't benefit from it. But in spite of these, the idea of Bismarck spread to other countries and was adopted by the United States. As a response, the United States Social Security was introduced in 1935 to provide financial support to the elderly who were disabled and widows. This plan was intended to help the elderly when they can no longer earn a living. The concept of retirement transcends the modern world and was seen as a payoff of hard work. It was also seen as a reflection of your dedication to your job. Your grandparents grew up with it and they knew it by heart. In times of strong economic growth where people were receiving large salaries consumed under a low cost of living, employer-sponsored pension plans grew as private businesses. As employers provide support to their employees, they can also earn money from it. This employer-sponsored retirement plan has been accessed by many and assumed as a good fortune when they are no longer able to work. Basically, they depended much on this fortune, which benefited them much. Cheap real estate also matters. The value of real estate rose after most boomers acquired their homes. Real estate was fairly cheap during those times, and people could acquire them easily. They also benefited from the stock market growth, and many invested in stock bonds and other financial assets with long-term returns. This explains why boomers afforded to buy million-dollar mansions in the 70s from small salaries. They have benefited much from their small salaries, and they have enjoyed buying things without limit. Your problem of not being able to retire started when you see your parents' and grandparents' retirement as a matter of when, but with you, it is a matter of how. Clearly, they didn't have to ask themselves how because it was intended for them. But for you, it is actually the opposite, and you were not fortunate enough to have the same conditions as they had. It is always a question of time. But why? The cost of living today with the average salary is a lot different than it was during the 70s. As life was very simple, you will not worry much on how to spend your money. Life was easy and people spent their money more in pursuit of fun and excitement. They can readily buy houses with an average salary of $15,000 only. With much extra cash, they can also afford to buy fancy clothes and luxurious jewelry. These important things in life were just cheap then. Today, houses cost around $300, and this is too expensive for an average salary of $60. With this average salary, it is spent just to buy the basic necessities like housing and healthcare. Most of the time, people find it difficult to acquire both of them, and they have to choose the most important. And to live comfortably as your parents did during their time, you have to be twice as rich as an average working individual. You have to really work hard to be as wealthy as them. Today, strong economic growth was not evident, while the cost of living became too high and average salaries remained constant, with real estate becoming difficult to acquire. But not only real estate, but also other important properties. But what about the employer-sponsored pension plans? In the past years, people entrusted their retirement plans to their employer. They are working hard with their employers to secure their future. These are big guaranteed plans and benefits where most people depend on as they age with their jobs. But today, they are not as big as they were before. Retirement plans are not that famous and even helpful. Different types of retirement plans are offered to newly hired employees, like fixed contribution plans where you have to save on your own. Moreover, freelancers or contract workers do not have these retirement benefits, making it difficult for them to save for their retirement. If they want to have a satisfying retirement, they have to take a portion of their salaries and save it. Finally, life expectancy has increased. People live longer than before and making it hard for their employers to pay their retirement benefits. They think that it will cost them too much to pay and might contribute to bankruptcy and downfall of their businesses. Basically, these fixed benefit plans are not as good as they were before, making it harder for most people to ever think of retiring as compared to their parents or grandparents who lived in a relaxed period of life while enjoying the benefits of hard work in a lifetime course. Their parents and grandparents were simply excited for this moment. But we do live in completely different lifestyles because the world has changed a lot, and the way we do things has also transformed because society has changed too. These changes created a different impact in each person's lives. A 30-year-old man in the 70s will be satisfied while grilling barbecue in his own backyard, talking and enjoying the moment with his wife and kids, as compared to a 30-year-old man today who will just post outfits of the day on Instagram from his parents' basement without thinking of any responsibility. More often, a 30-year-old man of today will love to be alone with his gadgets than to socialize with other people. But this is not to brawl with social media trends. We do not condemn the expression of oneself. It is just a way of saying that life does change, and this is a reality that we cannot ignore. And since you are living today, it's time to realize the fact that nobody will be blamed for your financial status in the future but yourself. You have to realize that life changed from simple to complicated, from dependence to independence. No one will be there to help you enjoy life aside from surviving it. You can never blame anyone, and you cannot owe them your future. Maybe you have some good points to do it, but it will not change the reality and will only add bitterness to your life. In any way, you have to accept the fact that you have to work for your own future because no one will ever do it for you. It is a matter of self-reliant and hard work. So you have to adapt to the new environment and learn how to maneuver it and learn from it. Second, You need to realize that with bad news comes also the good news that you have power, knowledge, and learnings. These qualities are significant for you to adapt to this ever-changing world. So there's no excuse to be financially ignorant. If you will say that your parents or your school did not teach you how retirement plans work, you can always learn for yourself or find ways that will help you learn it. Also, if you can access the global marketplace freely, you can gain more options than anyone. Lastly, you should realize that minding your future financial status is not only the goal of several entrepreneurs and people who are lucky and wealthy, but it is for everyone. Everyone has the right to own it. You don't need to be famous to be financially independent. Popularity is not a necessity. There are only 3 things you need to be financially stable: purposeful knowledge, strong executing will, and the right means. Control your future and don't just let the universe simply roll the dice for you and lead your life. Life is not that simple, but rather complicated. You have to exert effort to be financially sound and look for ways to prepare for your retirement. This is not a difficult task in this advanced society and basically a better means to start off. As you continue to be persistent, life will reward you with success as your retirement comes. Many are just comfortable with their situations right now and hoping someday that table will turn to avoid the present reality. This is an absurd reasoning where you have to trust your luck. A classic example is when you are told that AI will change things, firing a lot of people and you didn't believe it. You assume that it's impossible for companies to fire hundreds of thousands of people abruptly. You thought that AI will not replace you in doing your jobs. Well, check the latest news and you will be surprised that it is really happening and that it is rightful to say it can happen. Without knowing, AI can substitute the working class in this modern world. This can favor employers because they are not required to give AI the benefit of their retirement. They will not get tired and definitely will not retire as real employees do. So decide now if you want to gain full control of your future. You need to have a deeper knowledge of how this world works and how you will fit in. How you can work out your particular situation is another broader topic. Lastly, you need a luxury to execute, meaning you need to work for extra hours, be consistent, and relentless. These are things that most people hate doing, and they will surely suffer the most when reality hits, where nobody will be there to take care of them. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications as always. To follow Luxzoid on social media, please review the links in the text description of this video. Thank you in advance for your feedback. I am Miss Luxurious, signing off for now. Do not forget to visit our YouTube luxury channel Luxzoid to explore the exemplification of the great state of comfort and extravagant living.